And we're back. Did you miss me? Of course you did. If you're following along, we are reading Almost Odis by me, Dusty Thompson. Buy your copy on Amazon or authorhouse.com, your choice. I think this on Amazon for $5 for the, what's that thing called? Kindle copy. Yes. I don't do Kindles, I do hardcover books. I just don't like to have the little electronic thingy in my hand. I like the feel of a book, you know? So if you're following along, we are on page 228. Just in time for September, this is going to be the blog dated Tuesday, December 25th, 2012. Your name is what? It's Christmas morning and I have put the big one down for a nap, and I'm clearing the pantry of everything fattening or sugar-filled by creating desserts to share with coworkers tomorrow. It's for our own good. The dad is diabetic and I am determined to remain not fat. So yay for the hospital staff. They'll think I'm selfless. 'Tis the season, y'all. I really am selfless when it comes to snacks. No, I'm not. My absolute favorite holiday candy is haystacks. I use my mother's recipe, which calls for potato sticks instead of chow mein noodles. They are buttery goodness and taste ridiculously yummy. Of course, the ingredients necessitated a trip to Walmart, as no other store had even heard of potato sticks. And interestingly enough, since I've been with Ben, potato sticks are plentiful at the Asian grocery store. They eat them like potato chips all the time. There's different flavors even. So I'm never without potato sticks now. I used to only find them at Walmart sometimes. Now I go to Island Pacific and they're there. You even get ketchup flavored ones. Tastes just like exactly like I think it would be. It's a little tiny crunchy French fry with ketchup on it. Anyway, I like the fact Walmart does not change their inventory depending upon geography, with the notable exception of TJ Blackburn syrup and Snapple. It has been my experience you can't find Blackburn syrup, the only decent pancake syrup on the market, outside of the South. It's manufactured in Texas. And you cannot find Snapple inside of the South. I have never been able to find a Diet Peach Snapple iced tea in anywhere other than sometimes at truck stops in Texas, but only sometimes. When I was spooning the haystacks onto the tinfoil, because I'm Southern, he said in response to the query of the reason he said tin instead of aluminum, I thought about who named these and other candies and how important it is, apparently, that a cook not only be creative in the invention of, but also the naming of said desserts. Haystacks look exactly like little haystacks. It's a perfect name. I'm not sure if they were so named by the creator, little e, not speaking of Jesus at this particular juncture, or if there was a clever family member who said, ooh, those look like little haystacks, and the name stuck. I have to think about those sorts of things. Cannot be left up to chance. Names are important. If it was left up to all the cooks, we'd have an entire section of the cookbook called Tiny Nom Noms and Hunks of Gooey Goodness. While I don't necessarily think the First Lady actually named her namesake treat, I like the regal nature of a Martha Washington candy. And Divinity Fudge calls to my religious intercession, as the sugar content is enough to cause type 2 diabetes from simply walking slowly past the decorative candy dish on the dessert table at your grandmother's house. In fact, one of my back teeth just turned black from typing this sentence. I cannot eat Divinity Fudge. It is too sweet. Oh my gosh. And speaking of names, me padre asked just this morning if I thought Terrell was a typical Southern name. Terrell is pronounced like Errol, as in Errol Flynn, for those over 50. For those under 40, go on IMDb and educate yourselves. My response was, number one, I don't think there is such a thing as a typical Southern name. And two, if there is, it is most assuredly not Terrell, oftentimes pronounced Terrell. On a side note, I learned my name, Dustin Terrell, is interesting to be sure. Per a study I read back in 2012, Dustin is ranked 4th on the list of most common names for white boys in California, and Terrell is ranked 6th on the list of most common names for black boys in California. Who knew? Which begs the question, what is a typical Southern name? My best friend from high school, Paige, sometimes sends me our hometown newspaper so I can see the interesting names of the populace of this bustling metropolis of Tylertown. That's in Mississippi for those that don't know. Tykevius, Jakevius, Idiah, Todrick, Antisha, Catavius, Zaman, Traquarius, Latavius, Dartavian, Amari, Archael, and Kendrion. And those are the names of the boys on the football team. at Tylertown High School. Sounds like a roll call in the Roman Senate. You don't even have to leave my family for some of those people with resoundingly Southern labels. We have the men, Hubert, Searcy, Sherman, Thurman, Thornton, the aforementioned Terrell, Odis, Lynch, and the James doubles, James Allen, James Oscar, James Melvin. There are also quite a few names which are initials which don't stand for anything, like RC, AV, and JD. My Uncle RC's name is RC. Doesn't stand for anything. On the women's side, we have Waynette, Perry Lynn, Arilla, and Ursel, and the doubly good Myrna Ray, Jimmy Sue, Lucy Jane, Rhoda Lee, and Billy Evelyn. And that's not counting friends and acquaintances such as Catfish, Cooter, Johnny Boy, and Tater. I also know both a male and a female JoJo, but we are not related. A fate which saddens me a little bit, although more color in my family tree I do not need, n'est-ce pas? If you've read my first mystery, A Gone Pecan, if you haven't, go read it. Ignore all the typos. I'm embarrassed. You are familiar with interestingly named people such as Marcetta, Deltrinda, Crespo, and Billy Shannon. Now you know more about my background, it's easier to see these names are not much of a stretch. Would a name have to be doubled like Bobby Merle or Willie Nail to be considered Southern? At least Southerners aren't as bad as some celebrities with children named Pilot, Apple, Moses, Moon, Inspector, and Kal-El. Yes, Nicolas Cage named his child after Superman's daddy. Of course, it depends on your point of view whether those are preferable to Hilmafe, Spur, and Shadynasty. At least little Apple, Gwyneth Paltrow's daughter, will have a big bank account. Yeah, both her parents are rich. Her brother Moses, too. He needs one. That's a terrible name, my God, Moses. I feel sure most children in the next generation will be named Bella or Jacob, but don't some of the newest names sound like they are from specific TV channels, like the Soap Network, Fallon, Channing, or National Geographic, Savannah, Dakota? There are an alarming number of female Kendalls and Kinleys these days, and more than a handful of Dylans and Brandons. There is at least one additional girl named Bradley that I know of, because I knew one when I went to Ole Miss back in the mid-90s, and my friend Tiffany, hey Tiffany, named her daughter Bradley. Bradleigh. Isn't that cool? There are also those amongst us that have delved into the categories of special characters and random capitalizations, like Daquan with an apostrophe, Rashad, and La Miracle. If your child requires assistance to spell their name upon entering 5th grade, you might have gone too far on your way to be unique. So you tell me, what is the typical Southern name? I would continue our discussion, but I am, in the words of my dear sainted mother, too ashamed to look at you because I have done nothing but lay around and eat the livelong day, and I'm tired, y'all. With that, I'll bid you a Merry Christmas. I'd offer to send you some haystacks, but somebody, I won't say who, ate them all. It was the dad, not me. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.